Hey everyone, I'm Kristen the Cross Stitching Runner and welcome to my channel. I want to say a big hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers, and if by chance you've stumbled across this channel is all about cross stitch with a bit of life stuff thrown in. And before we kick into what I've been working on for the last week, I also want to say a happy new year to everyone as well, because today is Saturday, the 3rd of January, 2026. And I am so thankful that we're now in the new calendar year, because last year was eventful for good reasons and bad reasons. And I felt like when we got to say Christmas time, and even over the last few days with New Year's celebrations and such, I've felt a sense of relief of thank goodness we've made it through the year. We've hit the milestones of the the different holidays and that kind of thing, and I feel like I can relax a bit now, going, yep, okay, this will hopefully be a better year than last year, because uh, things can only get better. With that in mind, let's get into the cross stitch stuff, because I had this strong aim of finishing Under the Sea, designed by Durene Jones for Lakeside Needlecraft. I had the aim of getting it finished by the end of last year, and I did it. So this is the finished piece, and I am so happy with how this has turned out. I stuck to my guns and added beads to this piece, in place of I guess where the chart had called for uh, X's, using, I think, white, blanc, whatever light coloured thread it was for the air bubbles. And I am so happy with how it's turned out. I used pretty well all of the called for colours in the design. It has been stitched 2/2 on opalescent fabric called Tropical Ocean. I'll need to double check. I am 99% sure it's Tropical Ocean. Um, Hand dyed by Paddock Lane Designs. And if by chance you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen a little clip that I posted, just very slowly scrolling across the piece, just to show the beads that I put in. The beads are, I've got them in a drawer off to my side. They are seed beads for much of a muchness. Hang on. Okay, so these are red beads, quite similar to the beads that I purchased for the clear ones for the air bubbles for Under the Sea. I bought them from Spotlight, and I would have liked to have gotten like just the smaller Mill Hill seed beads, but Spotlight don't stock them. So I think this particular brand of I've not committed to memory what they are, were fantastic to use, where it didn't feel as fiddly to use. I think they were maybe 12 millimeters. Sounds like a very large bead, but again, I'll double check the packaging. Actually, hang on a moment, I'm going to get the packaging. Okay, thank you for bearing with me on that one. Okay, so this is the packaging, so to speak, of the beads that I purchased. And the reason why I had the number 12 on the brain is that These are size 12 seed beads, and they are 1.8 millimeters, and the packaging says that these are silver beads and that they're 25, it's a 25-gram bag. And as we can see, we've got heaps left over. But the really nice thing with these particular beads compared with the seed beads that I've used for other projects, each bead I picked up out of the little bag all fitted so nice and comfortably through the special beading needle that I have. And when I've used the Mill Hill beads, it's not always been the case, because sometimes just the center hole of the bead has just been a little bit smaller than the eye of the needle, and I've needed to find creative ways of getting the bead onto the thread. So that was just some of the details about the beads that I used. And since I finished Under the Sea, I have worked on two other projects over the last couple of days. I haven't done any stitching today as yet, because I have been reorganizing my main floss stash, where I have over the last few weeks been getting into the groove of just tidying up my spaces where I can and getting myself just a little bit more organized, which means that you may see, I guess, some colored boxes that are just to the corner. They're blue and green. There's a couple of clear boxes there as well. They are just maybe a small portion of my master set, and noting that I don't have all of the colors in the master set, and I reminded myself that I have multiple colors, or uh, not multiple color, obviously multiple colors, but multiple skeins. That's the wording I'm looking for. Multiple skeins of the same color. And this is where I am very much going to need, and I've been thinking about it for a good portion of time as well. I'm going to need to either design a pattern or find one that I can purchase that will enable me to use up all of those spare skeins. And it's going to take a bit of time to find something or design something that I think would work. But that said, I am thankful that I've got it all organized, and what my plan at the moment is to just draw out the skeins that I need and use them for the projects that I'm working on at the time. And because I now have a great collection of project bags, I'm then able to put those skeins into the bags and travel with them as I need to. And I'm I'm looking forward to traveling just a bit lighter as well, and not having those coloured boxes, because to put into perspective, they are tackle boxes. To put in perspective, I'll just go grab a couple of them. Okay, so with this first box, it's just a clear tackle box that my partner had gotten for free for a purchase that he'd made a little while ago, and I think these are awesome. I love the fact that it's clear and I can easily see what colours I've got where. And then this yellow one is one that I've had for yonks. Again, it's a Plano tackle box that I've got at the moment most of my 3700s in here, and then some of the 3600s, 3300s, and 3000s. So, yeah, it's just a way that I find helpful for organising my floss, and I really do hope that it works well for me, because historically I've used, for example, this box to put in all of the colours that I've needed for about 2 or 3 projects, and sometimes I've lost track of what threads I have or how much I've got, and I know that I'll be running into that similar style of problem if I use the other method that I'm trialing at the moment. And I have considered using spreadsheets as a way of tracking where I've got threads with which project. And I'll start off with great intentions, and I know that I'll be able to keep up with it for a little bit, and then different scenarios will happen. I'll get bored, I'll forget, I'll say to myself that I'll do it later and then never get around to it and end up in a similar situation. So we'll wait and see. It's all cool. So aside from organising my floss collection a little bit more, I have actually gotten around to doing a bit of stitching. So the first project that I have worked on is the B&S Ball, which is a design that was by hot cross stitching for the Great Aussie Shindig that happened last year on the Australia Day long weekend. And as a little bit of a side note, the really cool thing is that we are doing the Great Aussie Shindig again this year. It's being organised by Paddock Lane Designs, and I strongly recommend that you go and check out their website, and you'll be able to find out all the details about how the shindig is going to happen. You will need to purchase a ticket, and the really cool thing is that I'm going to be participating in it in the context of just being a floss tuber for this year. Last year I had been trying to participate as a floss tuber and a designer as well, and with the way last year has been, especially towards the end of the year, and now that I'm working again, it's just gotten to be too hard to try and do everything. So this is where I am unashamedly doing a plug for the Great Aussie Shindig that again is coming up for the Australia Day long weekend towards the end of January. So please go and check out the Paddock Lane Designs website, and you'll get all of the information you need there. So let's get back to the stitching. With the B&S Ball, I stitched on this on the 1st of January. I put in about 420 stitches. Actually, I feel like I did some stitching on this yesterday as well, but I think it was just the 1st of January for this. And at the moment, it looks like there hasn't really been much of a change between the before and after pieces or pictures, but there has been some change. Now, the next piece that I have to share with you is one that I've worked on for the last couple of days. So on the 1st of January, I didn't note down how many stitches I put in. I'm guesstimating maybe 200 or so stitches. And then yesterday after work, yes, I did have to work yesterday. It's quite rude. um, I put in 515 stitches, and this is the project. So again, this is another hot cross stitching design. I've nicknamed it the Spanish Proverb, and it will eventually say, a life lived in fear is a life half lived. And it is a quote from the movie Strictly Boring. I know that I've talked a little bit about this piece, and especially its connection to the movie, and majority of my stitches have gone into the blue around the letter A, and I'm really enjoying working on this piece, noting that this is being stitched on 18 count, I guess a creamish style of Aida. It was fabric that I had purchased from the Victoria Needlecraft House, something very similar to that wording at least, up at Mittagong. And again, it's been ages since I've worked on 18 count Aida, or at least it feels like it's been ages, and it's been a lot of fun. Now, considering I haven't done any stitching today, once I have finished filming this Flosstube, I am wanting to get back into a piece that I haven't worked on for quite a few years now, and it is a piece called Mini Mushroom. Over the few years ago, when I had been doing a bit more work on this piece, I have even called it Gundaroo Mini Mushroom, and it is a hot cross stitching design. And this is where it's up to, noting that this is only halfway of the actual piece. And so I'm just at the bottom now. This is being stitched on 14 count Aida, and off the top of my head, I don't remember what the shade of the fabric is. It is fabric that I've had in my stash for several years, and it is one of the very first hot cross stitching designs that I have been working on. So this was before I figured out how to properly update the PDFs to get them into Pattern Keeper. And since then, I have actually updated the mushroom chart, and I do have it in Pattern Keeper now, and the hot cross stitching website has been updated to have the updated chart in it. And I think for muchness, I will still be hanging on to the physical chart and working off that to an extent, but using the Pattern Keeper edition to quickly figure out which of the colours that I'm needing to stitch on, because that has been my biggest challenge with using very large physical charts, in the sense that large where there are more than 20 colours in a project, and especially if they're full coverage projects, and that having to figure out what I'm wanting to stitch on, then finding that in the key, and then finding that floss, and then trying to remember what the symbol was that I was going to be working on. So that has just been a personal issue of mine over the years, and that's part of why I've always raved on about Pattern Keeper, because it has helped me so much. Now, with stitching, what my aim is for the rest of this month is to focus on Australian themed projects. And this was something that I had mentioned a few floss tubes ago. I think it might have been during my second planning floss tube, where it was more detailed. And my aim is definitely to, as we've done, work on B&S Ball, mini mushrooms, working on a Spanish proverb, then also wanting to work on pelicans, and wanting to work on black and white rolled up daisy, and pretty well any of the projects that I either have as whips, or maybe even starting some, depending on timing. basically working on anything that's been designed by an Aussie or it's got an Aussie theme or anything to that effect. So that's something I'm strongly looking forward to continuing doing. The other thing with Flosstube for me for this year is that I'm going back to filming fortnightly, because trying to do floss tubes on a weekly basis is no longer feasible for me. I'm finding that I'm not stitching enough during the week to be able to have enough content to share with you. And on my perspective, I find that really disappointing, because I'd like to be able to uh, have a lot of different things to share with you in terms of what I have been working on. So I think fortnightly is going to be, I think, one of the best moves for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on a fortnightly basis. Now I'm just moving some things out of the way and grabbing some notes, because in the last few days I was watching some Flosstube and I'm annoyed at myself for not noting down properly who I was watching with regards to this. However, if you've been watching Flosstube for a long time, you'll hopefully know who I'm talking about, because I understand that this particular challenge has been around for a while, and it's the alphabet challenge, where I've seen over the years some people doing variations of this where it's A B single, a something very similar to that, or um, yeah, something to that effect. But this particular floss tuber I am thinking of, the awesome thing is that she's an Aussie, and that it is something that I think she's been doing for quite a few years in terms of this alphabet challenge. And yesterday afternoon, when I was just needing a little bit of a break from work, I jotted down the alphabet and then noted down, and this is double-sided, and then some. Um, Letters of the alphabet, and then all of the projects or patterns, charts, kits, whatever that I have in my stash that start with those particular letters of the alphabet. And it was I found it to be an interesting exercise, in the sense that I know that this year I'm not going to participate in it, but I like knowing that I potentially could. And so, what this particular exercise taught me was that I have maybe, I mean, it was about 6 letters, um, maybe 6 to 7 letters that I would struggle to find projects for. And this morning, as part of my procrastination, hang on, thank you for that. So, as part of my procrastination of avoiding doing things I had to do today, I actually went on to the internet and did some searches of charts that started with the letters that I didn't have any projects for. And I was able to find some on, where was it? Heaven and Earth Designs, noting that I didn't really look too hard, but then I also appreciate that I could stitch that specific letter from an alphabet, though I don't know if that would work for the scope of what the challenge is all about. And when I was thinking back to this Flosstube episode that I was watching about the ABC or A to Z of cross stitch and such, I knew that I was not going to be able to do the other types of challenges associated with, with the alphabet, because I also learned that I definitely have favorite designers or favorite companies that I like purchasing my patterns from. And the cool thing is, I know that it's across the board in terms of all of us cross stitchers. We have our favorites of designers that we will regularly purchase from. So with uh, if I were to use the alphabet for the names of the designers or the names of the artists and such, I would need to get very creative for all of that. And to an extent, I could probably do the color. I think there's a color theme for the alphabet cross stitch challenge as well, and I think that could work okay. I'd need to look into it a little bit more. But I just wanted to share that with you, where I think that was just really cool. And I have also found that I have a lot of charts starting with H, M for Mary, S for Sam, and yeah, some for W's. But yeah, it's just been quite interesting seeing those stats. With all that said, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time with me. I hope that you've gotten a little bit of cross stitching done, and I am looking forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks' time. I hope you have had a fantastic break over the Christmas, New Year's period. I hope that you got to celebrate the way that worked well for you, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Happy stitching.